This video isn't meant to rehash all of the details behind the conspiracy of the Boston bombing. If you're interested in this, please watch our previously uploaded video playlist, Boston Marathon Explosion Cover-Up, for full coverage. Rather, today we ask the question, is the Boston bombing and the more recent Woolwich terror attack in London connected? Are these two events part of a much deeper and sinister agenda to declare martial law in America and create a police state environment overseas? Remember, the entire city of Boston was on lockdown during the search for a single unarmed suspect during the aftermath of the marathon bombing. The younger brother, Joe Carr, was engaged in a violent gun battle in broad daylight, and martial law was declared in one of America's largest cities. His throat was also conveniently shot, preventing him from talking before being taken into custody, but authorities suggest he later confessed to the attacks via a handwritten note. Also, one of the first suspects of the Boston bombing, a Saudi Arabian national who was initially accused of the attack, was later cleared and suddenly deported overseas by the Obama administration as a matter of national security. If he was innocent, why was he deported? Not long after that, a second suspect named Sunil, a student who was falsely identified by Reddit as the Boston bomber, was found dead in the Providence River. An additional suspect, Ibrahim Tadashev, who was simply being questioned by authorities, was shot and killed by FBI agents. Authorities say he conveniently left a note confessing to his crimes before they shot him. And now, two well-trained FBI agents directly involved in the investigation of the Boston bombing have suspiciously been killed in a training exercise. How is this not suspicious? And how many more people are going to die before this story is finished? What is even more interesting is that many believe the recent Woolwich attack in London, like Boston, was also a staged event, many calling it a false flag terror attack perpetrated by the UK government. But the question is, why? What motive does the American or the UK government have to stage gross atrocities on innocent civilians in broad daylight at seemingly safe public outings? Maybe recent comments from former MI5 chief Stella Remington provides a clue. Stella has publicly stated that the enemy is everywhere and has called on the public to act as the eyes and ears in the wake of the terror attacks and encourages people to spy on their neighbors and report suspected extremists to authorities. She also mentions that the alternative is to have a, quote, police state. A police state? Is that the agenda? Is that the motive for these recent terror attacks? Are these attacks meant to further propel a government agenda for total authoritarian control over the people, one where they are monitored and tracked at all times, where they virtually give up their freedom rather than live in fear of being beheaded by Islamic extremists or blown up at marathons? What is even more suspicious is that the UK's elite security service, MI5, similar to the CIA in the United States, had even offered a job to the suspected Woolwich killer. They tried to employ his services. For what? To do what? Carry out the recent attack? How and why is this not being investigated further?
Did he give any indication to you that he was capable of such horrific violence?
No. I mean, when I saw the photos of him initially, I thought it was a joke. I thought, like, no, you know, like, are you serious? Like, no, it can't be him. You know, there's no way it can be him, because it didn't make sense, because his whole concept, was he just wanted to go and live in the Muslim land, basically, you know, and just basically get away from all the problems and all the troubles, basically, you know, because at that time he was basically being harassed by MI5. You know, this is something that he specifically mentioned to me. He said that MI5 had come to him. I think on his return back, he had been stopped. And subsequently after that, basically, he was followed up by MI5. You know, he said they came to his house. You know, they were saying, knocking his door. He pretended that he wasn't there, but they were knocking so much, he thought to himself, like, look, you know what, I need to kind of, like, you know, come and show my face. So he came out, he spoke to the MI5 agent, and they were saying that, look, we just want to have a chat with you, we just want to speak to you.
So when did he tell you this?
This is roughly about 6 months ago, roughly.
And what was his reaction to being approached by the security service MI5?
Yeah, his situation was that, you know, his wording was, you know, Ak means brother, you know, they're bugging me, you know, like they just keep, you know, they won't leave me alone, basically.
Did he explain what they wanted?
he mentioned that initially they wanted to ask him whether he knew certain individuals, basically. That was the initial issue. But after him saying that he didn't know these individuals and so forth, what he said is they asked him whether he'll be interested in working for them.
If you think this video should be seen by more people, please share it on Facebook, Twitter, and your other social media networks. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, cgreen34. Follow us on Facebook at Greenwave TV and Twitter at Greenwave. As always, I'm Christopher Green, hard-hitting and in your face.